this year's anniversary, or this year's denominational theme rather, has the theme possessing the gates. And this, I'm sure, has been addressed already many times this year, and will be so done even before the year runs out. However, because this is a hymn Sunday, I will not dwell too much directly on this topic. But I must mention it, that indeed we all have gates to keep and to keep on possessing, every one of us. It is the first gate that the devil attacks in our lives. That is our hearts. You may remember that in Genesis chapter 4, before Cain actually killed Abel, God warned him. He said, there is evil lurking around your heart. And you are the one who will make sure it doesn't possess you, because it seeks to. So right from the beginning, the heart had been a battle place for the devil to possess us. And when therefore we speak or sing concerning God, it is an assertion, as it were, that we will not allow the devil to possess that first gate of our hearts. The devil surely is busy roaming around, looking for opportunities to be able to penetrate. As we push him out, he also pushes himself in. It is our duty to therefore guard our hearts with all diligence. Out of it comes all the issues, good or bad, of life. Even Jesus also warned us. He said it is out of the heart that a lot of the things that are evil comes. We therefore have a duty to guard it. It's out of the abundance of the heart that the mouth speaks. So our heart is a territory that the devil wants to possess. And like we were told many times, even last week, that wall between him and us, we can't sit on it. There's no sitting place. There's no patching place. We must decide either for or against him. It is our duty to so do. The two passages that we have read this morning, however, are to show a little bit more than just the heart, the mouth of the children of Israel. The children of Israel, since they left Egypt, had been pestered, literally, by enemies all around them, because God was going to give them a territory that belonged to some other people before, who will not naturally accept that type of arrangements. And each battle, God had always assured them, this battle is not yours. I'm the one taking you to a place that I have promised. All you need to do is to be obedient to me and follow my instructions and give glory to me. All the rest, leave it to me. And we see this happening many, many times. Right from the first attempt to enter into the promised land. We know of Jericho. We know of, what are those? We know of Philistine. We know of when they entered the territory that all the kings battled against them. There was a time, 5 kings during Joshua's time, and some others, 5 were mentioned, but there were others who joined to fight the children of Israel. That's when Balak called Balaam. The people have come to me from very far away in Egypt, and they have come to trouble me. Come and curse them. It's a long story, but you remember what Balaam said? I cannot curse those who God has already blessed. That is the lot of the children of Israel. That is our lot. Every time we have a battle to fight, we must remember that if the battle is right, if the war is right, it is God's, not ours. And all we need to do is to obey him. In the text about Jehoshaphat, if you remember, was a descendant, of, I think, 2 generations after David. And he walked as best as he could in the steps David did. He messed up here and there, but in the end, he remained straight before God. And I have a feeling that Jehoshaphat was very familiar with the history of the children of Israel. All the battles they fought, all the wars, and when I was preparing for this, I found at least 18 places where God assured them, leave this fight to me. The Bible will say sometimes, they will not even fight you, they will run away. And that happened. So when these 3 kings, who were relatives, who came from relatives of the descendants of David himself, from Lot, from Esau, and I think from, as I said, family, who ganged up again and wanted to deal with Israel. Each of them was enough to annihilate Israel. Each of these kings. But they decided to team up to do it this time. And I suspect the reason why they wanted to do it was that they were fed up with the stories they have been hearing. That they have this God who always fights for them. This time we will deal with them. We will annihilate them entirely, like it's happening even in the world today. We will remove them. We will not hear about them again by the time we 3 gang up together against them. As I said, one of them was enough to deal with the children of Israel. 3 was too much. And Jehoshaphat didn't know what to do. And if you read the passage, we don't have time. That's why I'm not referring us to passages, otherwise we would spend too much time. The Bible tells us that the children of Israel, the young, the old, we all came and stayed with Jehoshaphat. We have a young man in our house now who started living with us just less than a month ago. There's another place where I know a younger man, and I'm told that that small boy, when he comes from school, he doesn't even greet anybody. You know what he does? He goes to stand in front of either the mother or the father. And when that person moves, he moves after him. You know why? You know why? He wants food. And you may laugh, but those of you who keep domestic animals, you know that's how they behave. They just follow you around. And so the children of Israel came and stood with Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat, what shall we do? Of course, Moses had experienced that type of thing before. They didn't just stay with Moses. They insulted him. You led us wrong. You took us to the wilderness as if there's no grave in Egypt to bury us. And Jehoshaphat went to God. And God sent a prophet to say, this battle is not yours. Every time I hear stories like this, I just wonder, how did Jehoshaphat feel? Even as, I don't know how many we are here, and you now say, Tuji Oyedepo, the Boko Harams are coming. You are our leader in this place. What shall we do? Now see how few you are. Some of you are much older than me. Some are toddlers. But you are all looking up to me. And I have not the slightest idea. We don't even have weapons. That was the situation. And this prophecy came. They will not shoot an arrow against you. The 3 armies, what will they do if they will not fight us? How? And you know, one of the songs we sang today said, God's army hidden from your sight. They are waiting. And Jehoshaphat was spirit-led to say, we will meet this battle singing. Singing. So he chose choristers, chose instrumentalists, and told them to be in front instead of soldiers. And for the weapon, they had their trumpets, they had their drums, and particularly, they had their voice. And that's how they went to meet 3 strong armies. I'm telling you a story you all know very well, but I love telling it like this because it's exciting to me. In fact, it's almost unbelievable. How can you send people who don't know anything about war to go and fight a war singing? But we know the story very well. Two of them, they gang up against a third, and they finished it. And then the two of them faced each other and finished each other. That was the end of that battle. Our God is a mysterious God. Things we don't even know that we need, He makes provisions for them. While I was thinking about this, I said, okay, what about when I'm going through life and I get to difficult situations and I don't know what to do? Is it when I get there that God starts makes provision of how I'm going to get through it? The Bible doesn't tell me so. It says God knows those points before I get there. I have made provisions for me to get through them. It is me who, through my contact with Him, will find that solution. If anybody had told Jehoshaphat, these people that are preparing for you, what are you doing? How many guns have you made? How many spares? He said, but God had prepared a solution. There are many times we come into the presence of God extremely unhappy, disturbed, even crying, weeping. Let me tell you today, God doesn't want you, He doesn't want you to see your tears in His presence. There are two things God usually required from the children of Israel. The first thing is that He said, don't come into my presence empty-handed. I don't care what you bring, but don't come just like that. You are coming to me, God, nobody like me. Bring something. The second thing is that you must not come with a long face. I watch some of these dramas on the television sometimes. And when they go to a babalawo and the man says, hey, stop crying. When you get to this place, there are no tears. As a human being, you don't cry in this place. Hi, your teardrop must not be on this floor. Don't you know where you are? This is the place where all problems are solved. Our God says He does not want us to tear. We know a woman who virtually teared. That's Anna. But even that, she tried to hide it. Her lips were moving, but nobody heard her. Please, get to the habit of believing that this thing you have brought to God, you don't know how He's going to do it, but it's not a problem to Him. It is not. It is you who will be close enough to find the solution. That is one lesson I want us to learn. That coming before God is not a time to lose all our tear glands. And say, hey God, don't you see me? You see what they are doing? Tell it to Him. Tell it to Him as best as you know how. He knows the solution before you brought the problem. I even thought early this morning that this God is even more than that. I mess up too much. And I hope you all do. One way or the other. You yourself know that you have done wrong. And you wonder whether God will really forgive and get you through this situation. You know God always does. When, I think it was Elkanah decided to go to Egypt, or where did he go to? Because there was famine in his land. It was a wrong move. And he got there, and he got the result of what comes with wrong moves. Lost his life, lost his children, and virtually everything he went with, except his wife. And one will say, Ogamila, God said we shouldn't go there. God doesn't deal like that. When they got back home, He provided a solution that brought them back into the right track. Through a foreign woman called Ruth. Please, don't ever think God cannot do anything about your solution because you condemn yourself that you are wrong. It is not true. Let's quickly go to the second story. The second story is about Paul and Silas. That's a different situation entirely. Paul had become the chief champion against Christians. He was the chief Boko Haram. He was the one who was going around and saying, follow me, I know where they are, we will go and catch them. And on one of those trips, Christ accosted him and stopped him in his track. What do you think you are doing? Again, we know the story. And Paul became an evangelist. One thing Jesus said in that place that I just wonder, this God is marvelous. He said, this Paul is going to suffer plenty for my sake and for the sake of the gospel. That's enough for him to say, Baba, please don't let me. It was a mistake. I didn't know what I was doing. He went through it all. He was beaten. He was left for dead several times. He was driven out of cities. And the people who were championing the driving out were no other people than his own people who were living in those cities, the Jews. He should have reached a time when he would say, God, you said I will suffer. I'm suffering. And I'm going to the places where you sent me to. But look at the people that are driving me out. Is this part of what you have for me? We never had that. On one of their trips, the Spirit didn't allow them to go to where they wanted to go. They changed. The Spirit said no, and they ended up in Macedonia. And there, in this city, as they were going to pray, as it was usual of Paul, there was this slave girl that was crying. These people are children of God. They are servants of God. They are God sent. Hear them. Listen to them. Should Paul not have been very happy? He had a megaphone to broadcast what he wanted to say. But it was not spirit-led. God said, no, this one is not of me. And Paul stopped her and cast out what was speaking in her, which her masters were using to make money. And the master didn't like it naturally. And they ganged up. Not just themselves, but all the people. And collected Paul and Silas. Took them to the magistrate. These people are disturbing this city. They are preaching something different from what we know. And they beat them. In fact, it was said they were beating with rods. I know of Koboko. I know of Bilala. I know of Atoni. How do you beat people with rods? And they beat them till they are close to their bodies were in pain. And then they went to put them in the farthest part of the prison, in stocks. If you don't know stocks are things that are used to make sure that a person cannot move. It's not like chains. It's not like chains where you see prisoners. No, they stay in one place and their hands are virtually tapped to the ground and their legs with other prisoners. I suspect those other prisoners were not Jews. They were people of the natives of the place. And all Paul and Silas would do was to start a praise worship. Haba. Is that the next thing? But the point I want to draw out in that story is one sentence. And the other prisoners had them. I think what was not said, which was meant, was that they not only had them, they listened to them. Probably they were singing even in Hebrew, which those people didn't understand. But it was too much for them. What is this? What is this? And they listened. And as they listened, their chains broke. They didn't sing. They just listened. And both Paul and Silas and they were released. I don't want to believe that it is just singing that made it happen. It is their hearts that was God's word, that was towards God, that broke those chains. But they gave expression to their hearts. That's where I want to arrive at this morning. I've watched us worship in this congregation over time, since we were in the college, at the college. And I'm sorry, I noticed something that is getting worse and worse. We have become lethargic in our worship. Coming late to church is normal. In those days, if anybody came to church at UMCATC, where the both were in charge, there will be eyes that will look like that, and the person you will sit next to will say, "What happened?" He say, "Why are you late today?" Every time we start a worship with this place, we start with less than 20% of the people who will eventually gather. Worse than that. When it is time to pray, to read the Bible, and particularly to sing, I notice this. Abba. Ladies and gentlemen, we chose the time we will meet God. God didn't tell us to come here at the time we are coming. We, as a congregation, were the ones who decided we will come to worship God at 10 o'clock on every Sunday. And some people are not late just once in a Sunday. They are late almost every Sunday. If we will choose a different time, let us decide and choose a different time. I've been watching, and it has not made me happy personally, because it's as if we didn't come to meet God. If governor is too high, if the university vice chancellor, and most of us don't belong to the university, if the university vice chancellor says, people of this congregation, for a very special reason, I want to see you at 10 o'clock on a day like this. He may say, you look very well, but we will be punctual. If only the lecturers among us will remind us and say, vice chancellor alone very well. How come we choose the time to meet God and we are careless about that meeting? Are we gathering for any other reason? Do we come just to see our friends, to gossip, to scroll through our phones? Even if you don't know a song that is being sung, the words are in the book. And there's nothing like you don't know the words that are being read in the Bible, because you should have your Bible. Forgive that it's as if I'm using an opportunity for Hymn Sunday to do something else. But it touches my heart very much that we don't take our worship time serious enough, particularly singing. Singing is a wonderful thing that, like we have sung this morning, it releases the body, it tunes the heart to God in a way even the Bible sometimes can't do it so well. When we gather before God, please let us make sure we gather unto Him and not unto anybody else or anything else. When the children of Israel sang following the choir to battle, everybody sang because they all followed this choir, and as they were going, they saw that they were winning. They would get louder and louder. And I kept on wondering, what song could Paul and Silas be singing? They were not singing, "Hey God, please save me," or "I'm coming home," or all that type of song. You know what I suppose they were singing? They were singing this song with topic. Thank the Lord for His good, for His mercy endures forever. Thank you. Yes. Let's sing. Let's ask the Lord. Thanks to the Lord. In every situation. had been one that I don't have much time to say what I want to say. I don't think the much I say is what matters. It is the much that God allows each of us to receive. And I believe, even if we have not been able to digest it all, we will be able to digest most of it when we have left here. Let us always give thanks and take God serious. My dear Father, we thank you this morning. You are a good God. You have always been a good God. Even when we didn't know anything about what was happening, even before we were saved, as the Bible said, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. You loved us. You loved us when we didn't know what it meant to be loved. And you have continued to love us. Your love is everlasting. It's forever. And so, Lord, teach us to rely on this wonderful promise of yours, that you will love us forever and that you will take care of us in every situation, so that in all our time of presence with you, we will be joyful. We will be singing. We will be glorifying you. And you will continue to bless us because your love, your steadfast love. This year's anniversary, or this year's denominational theme, rather, has the theme possessing